Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hello.
Hi. Well, your timing's great. So our tornado warning is over. It was about
That's good.
10 scary, very dark minutes. It literally looked like nighttime. There was lots of, and you know how I feel about thunder. So I'm really happy I
Wait,
had the
it's
day
not the
off.
lightning that scares you?
No, it's the thunder, the
The
sound and the
sound
rumbling of the
scares you?
house.
Not the actual damage of lightning?
Well, that too. It's a combination, I guess.
Okay, I would include the two together.
I would include the two together, but this particular situation, there was definitely more rumbling than the actual lightning and the very ominous dark clouds. So, anyways, made it through. Super glad. Still working on the adrenaline, bringing it back down.
Well, glad that's over with.
Me too.
So maybe we could talk about a different kind of drama.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so Peter's shot. Poor guy. I'm just thinking maybe he'll think twice about going along with any of Maxie's plans.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like all of her missions are very dramatic, and something big always happens. And I know that he loves her, but let's try to use some logic.
Well,
this
I
time
don't
around.
I don't think anyone can really. I don't even think it's about resisting. It's about the fact that she's going to do something insane, and when you care about someone, you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm pretty much going along with this to protect you from yourself." But at
True.
the end of the day, now that the whole story unfolded, I kind of now understand why it was important for Maxie story-wise to have found Dante,
Oh,
because
huge.
it's like the huge impetus for Lulu to kind of like move on and get another man in her life and
Oh yeah, I
start
forget what his name is, but they're gonna be a super cute couple.
Uber to driver slash teacher. That's who that guy is. But
I just
but
had a
like
thought.
what
Is he
just
gonna
one
have
today?
oh, I have many, my friend. But he's gonna get Willow set because I'm like, what are they gonna do with that set?
Well, I mean, look, who knows if she's really gonna like move on from that job or not, especially with the way Nina
Oh,
kind of looked at her today. So it's possible that teacher takes Willow's set, or she ends up going back to the school. But I don't think anything is really final yet for what's gonna happen with Willow. I guess we're gonna have to see.
I like my thoughts on that though. Like, I really think Willow is going to end up working for Nina because they're setting the stage for this heartwarming type situation. And I think that eventually she's
Bleh.
going to wear the necklace to, pick up Charlotte one
I don't
day.
like it. I really don't
I
like
don't
it.
like it either, but
It's
they're
just
they're
like,
paving this weird path right now that I can't quite figure out, but I can
well,
see
you just said it,
why
but
a story would unfold. No, but like I can see why the story would unfold that way. I'm not saying I'm all for it and this is the way it should happen, but I can see why they're doing it.
well,
I'm not saying I'm
you
happy.
like you're saying, they're shifting things because it looks like they're going to start really digging into the storyline a bit more. But I really don't like this version of it. I don't like what's the drama in, oh, look, we've now bonded and now you're my daughter. It's kind of like a bonus,
I,
as opposed to what's been going on so far and then finding it out. I think that would have been like a lot more explosive than if they do go into that direction where they're finding peace with each other and then finding out their mother-daughter. I think it has way less like of
well,
an explosion that way.
I agree. I think that Willow has so many explosive things going on in her life, and there's so much more to come that the explosiveness is shifting to Sasha. So the relationship with Willow and Nina is calmer, and where the explosiveness in this storyline will come out is how devastated she is about the Sasha Valentine situation.
Yeah, I guess if you look at it from that way, of course Nina's still gonna have this heartbreak when it comes to Sasha. But to me, I feel like I'm not getting a 2-in-1 anymore. Like, definitely Willow has a lot going on, and the last thing she needs is something else. But if we just take a minute and go towards Nina, it's just sort of like, to me, I would have had more fun because of the way she had been behaving, because of the way she'd been behaving towards Willow, because of how naive she is when it comes to Valentine. Because I'm sorry, you cannot say that Nina accepts Valentine for all of his faults, because she still pretends that he didn't kill Nicholas. And that's like a whole other thing we'll get into later.
Mm.
So I think she's so delusional when it comes to him to a certain point. And so
True.
for that, I would have been like, yeah, in a way, I would have enjoyed you like seeing the explosions of realizing he lied to you and Sasha wasn't your daughter. And it sucks. She's getting caught in the crossfire between Nina and Valentine. But I also would have wanted to see the explosion of being like, Sasha's not your daughter, and that Willow was. Like, to me, that would have been a lot more fun to see.
A lot more satisfying.
Yeah, I think that's really it, given how things have gone on. Because, like, I mean, for Nina to have been the way she has been with Willow all along and all this time, and then all of a sudden she's remorseful, and it must have been so weird when you see somebody who's constantly attacking you suddenly be nice and cry. It's like you don't even know what to do with that. Like, you
Well,
almost want to like tap her forehead and be like, are you a real person?
well, that's why Willow's expression was perfect because it was borderline disgust slash I'm going to hear you out.
Well, what's the alternative? You know, I think she's very conscious that she made mistakes, and I
Mm-hmm.
think at the end of the day she's going to try to do whatever causes the least amount of tension with Nina. I think what it's called for, she will stand up for herself as she has, but other than that, I don't think she's trying to bring any more drama, and I think she's trying to be and handle Nina better than she has in the past, because you know, she's actually faced the consequences of her choices and behavior, even though I think anybody else would feel that they were justified.
I 100% agree as to all of the things you're saying, and you worded it very well.
So before we like forget about Maxie, so again, Finn is really just being he's not falling into the background with Anna's absence. And again, this like shy, awkward guy is very much integrating himself into a lot of different characters, you know, people that he's familiar with. So the
Mm-hmm.
way that he, you know, the fact that he's the choice to support Maxie. And I mean, I get it, like there's a Peter connection there, but I just found it really funny that he kind of starts out by saying, I don't really know you all that well, yet he was able to predict every single thing that she did.
I
So that
know.
I was just, I mean, that to me was kind of funny, but I am so confused. And I mean, I know confidentiality is something that's really ill-defined in Port Charles, but what I don't understand
True.
is like Finn was bound by confidentiality. Can't tell Anna, but why was he able to tell Robert?
Well, here's the thing. I don't necessarily think he told Robert, but Robert knew because the WSB. So I think it was like kind
But
of they
Finn
met
filled him in on his,
halfway.
but like Finn just filled him in on his condition.
I know. I feel like he just gave in. He's like, I don't want to fight with this guy right now.
Like, I get the context, but they didn't say, you
Yeah.
know, like they didn't say that like Finn was obligated to report to the WSB, and that,
Right.
so just the fact that they didn't really address that, and all you see in the conversation is Finn just like freely offering the info conversationally and then expressing that he can't tell Anna while he's talking about it with Robert. I was just like, what is this madness? I want to talk about Robert, but let me finish this off with Maxie. So
Okay.
they cleared everything up really fast because like at first I was like, oh no, like how many riffs
Mm-hmm.
can these two girls kind of handle?
Right.
And I just kept thinking, you know, with Lulu's reaction to the whole thing, that she was just looking for someone to like physically be mad at, like somebody who's actually standing in front of her,
Yeah.
because you know her Dante is absent and she can't really get upset, or there's nobody to really be upset at. But they resolved it so fast,
Okay.
and it's
The funny thing was though, when I was watching that scene and my Lulu, because I go back and forth with how much I like her and how much I don't, and when her Lulu-esqueness pops out, my rage just comes out. But I was laughing because I was getting irate, and then I'm like, but wasn't there like a scene right before this where she was asking Sunny to go and break him out?
yes, that is
So,
actually, I did forget about that. I completely forgot about that in that moment. That was Monday also.
yeah,
She had literally just come from doing that.
so I was like, what is
So,
happening right now?
but she admitted exactly what I was thinking about her, because later on Lulu's basically saying she got to do what like I didn't get to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, at least she was being honest with herself, and she didn't let it kind of go on. Like she was upset in the moment. She kind of took some stuff out on Maxie, but at least she was able to recognize that and just sort of resolve things with her. And it was just really interesting how, you know, Laura and her, and in that really sad conversation, was kind of like, well, now we know. I
I
was
know
like,
it.
well, now we know he's really unwell,
Right.
but you're still, there's a lot of unknown. But I mean, basically, you know more than you did yesterday. and it's up to you if you want to make a decision. But I still feel it's a sucky situation to be in, even with knowing that Dante shot Peter.
Exactly. Like I didn't really see the silver lining as much as they did. and
Well,
but I did see it coming that I didn't think the divorce papers would happen so quickly, and I didn't think that they would come from Dante.
the thing is, it's just that you could tell that Laura knew what the papers were before Lulu
Yes.
did. And she's
It's pretty
already getting
funny.
up being like, oh no.
Crap.
It's only her second divorce. I don't think from the same guy, I don't think she knows what's about to happen right now. Thing about that, it's possible that it's real because in my head I'm thinking, okay, we have Maxie as a witness to Dante. Like what we assume is that he actually saw Maxie and Dante. I mean, sorry, Maxie and
And
Peter,
Peter,
and
yes.
opted to shoot them to keep them away. So we have her to kind of confirm that, and then he says the divorce papers. And so part of me is like, yeah, that could be totally true, that Dante is really far gone and he doesn't want contact with anybody. And after seeing them, he's just sort of like, let me just do this whole divorce thing. But then on the other hand, I was wondering, is that all that's really happening? You know, is there more than meets the eye? Like, are they doing something to Dante? Are the divorce papers from him? Is it a way to kind of make people stop looking for him? For sure he
Exactly.
has his own issues. Like he was tortured, and for the
Mm-hmm.
first time Lulu was able to like share those details. Well, whatever she knew, like whatever
Yes.
she saw on his back for the first time, she shared it with Sunny. So there is real things going on with him for sure. But it's just like Robert's like mysterious phone calls about transferring him
Mm-hmm.
makes me go, okay, so on top of like Dante's own stuff, are they using him? Like, is Maxie partially right? Like, in some shape or form, are they using him?
I definitely like my soap brain, my Port Charles brain is going there. So there's a part of me that definitely believes that they're leaving an opening for a longer story. So right now, Lulu needs to close this up. She needs a new love interest, and they need to put something in her path that's not just focused on Dante's absence. And
Yeah,
then once I feel like, as usual, once she's full on in her new relationship, or at least open to that, then they're gonna drag this story back to
they'll bring
create some,
Dante back. You mean?
yeah, some kind of like upheaval, or there's going to start to be clues or some sort of sign, or maybe this is where Maxie fits in again, or when Anna comes back. Like there's all these other characters involved, especially when it comes to the WSB, that can find out more information and leak that back into Port Charles.
Do you think all of this pause in the story? Well, I don't think it's a pause. Like, I think we're actually
Mm-hmm.
moving forward because of the divorce, and I do think it's fun to see Lulu kind of like move on in his absence for the time being. But do you think all of this is written so that like the original Dante can be the one who pops in and out and not be
Possibly.
replaced?
Hmm. But even if he was replaced, I don't know how the story would move forward if he was actually back in the show right now, or them showing his
No, yeah.
recovery. Exactly. Like I think it just needed that longevity, not necessarily for that guy, the character.
Okay, okay. And so, okay, so the the divorce, because like I said, this information about Dante, again, it was being framed like, well, now you can kind of move on with your life that he shot Peter. And it's like, mm-hmm.
Right? Because that's how things work.
And I'm just like, I don't know if that's clear enough for Lulu, but part of me was like, well, the bright side of the divorce papers is, in a way you didn't have to kind of like make the choice alone, because I felt like she was leaning towards like, yeah, you're right, like I have to move on with my life. Like he's very sick,
Mm-hmm.
and we just don't, and it's bad, and we don't know how long it is. Like I got the vibe that she was understanding that I may have to move on with my life, and like romantically too. Like I thought that's what I was picking up between her and Laura. Obviously the divorce papers are upsetting, but part of me was like, well, maybe it's a good thing on that front, because I think it still sucks that she still has to make a decision by herself about their
Yes.
marriage, because even when he left, he was super vague, and that sucked too.
No, I agree. I'm glad that she has her mom to lean on, and Laura has tons of experience to help her get through challenging situations. And the fact is, she did spark with that guy that she went on a date with, and she has been saying, like when what was it, Charlotte went to go and see her, and she's like, I miss Dante. Where is he? It's been a long time. Something about like it's been a long time since we've been together as a family, and
Yeah.
that hurts. That's hard. Like it's not just being a single parent. It's like all the rest that comes with it, and she just wants to be happy and whole. So I don't necessarily think it's like the next thing is going to be jump into love interest, but it's going to start. She's going to start healing and trying to figure out a new path.
Yeah, basically she's gonna stop waiting, even though things might not
Exactly.
shift dramatically. They may not shift dramatically, but just mentally moving forward and acknowledging that he's really not going to be a part of the immediate future, or maybe even her long-term future, might have that weight lifted off of her, like living in just the unknown for a while. So hopefully things kind of work out for her, but also be fun for us to see how that unfolds. And it was
Yes.
so sweet in the way that she was really leaning on Maxine, asking for her to be there in this new phase of her life.
It really was beautiful. I love their friendship on and off screen. It's wonderful.
Yeah, they're doing this whole like knitting thing
They're so cute. I
on
watched like
Instagram
what
together,
I
teaching knitting.
I watched them unbox some yarn, and I was just giggling because they were so excited.
It's just funny to hear someone say like, "Oh my gosh, I spent my time watching someone unbox yarn."
Right.
Okay,
True
so
fan. True fan.
absolutely to be doing that, yes. So, so I want to talk about Ava. Ava,
I like the
I want
tone
to
you took
talk.
when you brought that up.
Well,
Like, how
I
do
mean,
we approach this?
because there's a few things about her storyline right now.
Hmm.
So, okay, so Julian, so we get it though. Like Julian is primed to look out for crazy. So
Yeah.
I feel like that adds another layer. I feel like so when Ava talks to him, I mean, sure, I get it. He's skeptical. He knows Ava to be really strong, but I'm like, I don't know, is this really, really worrisome? Obviously in the context of what he's observed with Kim, I think it makes him a
Right.
little extra worried, but I don't know. Like what harm
I
can
don't
come
think
to
it's
Ava?
exactly. I don't think it's as concerning. But like you said, I think his radar's just up right now.
And I mean, I get it. Maybe she's making different choices now, but you have to understand she has also lost a child, and she is faced with confronting the idea of death and that sort of a thing. So her mind being in that place and wanting to contact or talk to Kiki. And the thing is, look, her psychic or whoever she uses doesn't really seem like the person who's gonna like accommodate Eva.
Which I love.
So there is that too. Not that he knows that. Um, but I have to admit, I didn't realize what damage could be done by seeing a psychic until Sunny started talking to her about what she passed on to Avery. At that point, I was like, oh, well, like if you want to do it, sure, that's fine. But I realized how that could have been harmful to Avery, who thinks that she could like talk to, like literally talk
Hmm.
to Kiki.
I didn't think about that either, and I thought it was really interesting because at first I'm like, why is he coming in so angry? And he starts talking, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, I understand now. Um, and I
but
don't think
Ava
Ava
didn't
got
seem
it.
to.
No, as usual, I don't think she got it. I just think she saw his aggression as opposed to hearing what he had to say. What I did love though is the scene with Christina. She was really cute with her and nice with her and normal.
I actually wrote down that the Davis women were kind to Ava because, like, Alexis has never really been all that kind to Ava,
Okay.
even when Ava hasn't done anything like major directly to Alexis. Like, even
Mm-hmm.
pre Morgan, like, even pre what she with Morgan, I think Alexis was never all that nice to her. So I just thought it was really interesting how kind they were both to Ava on that day because I don't think Ava's
Oh
kind of used to that thing.
yes.
But
No.
yeah, but I was just sort of curious, to me, I just felt for Christina to be inserted in that scene and to be so curious. Was that to just sort of like push Ava aside? Or what I was originally thinking was maybe there was something Christina wanted resolved.
Honestly, I'm leaning towards the second. Like, I think there's something that Christina wants to resolve. She's going through all of these wonderful growth phases in a real way, not like in a DOD way, and reaching out to somebody from the beyond, let it be Morgan, let it be Kiefer. She may want answers for something.
Well, Share 88 Days said Morgan, that she thinks it would be Morgan she'd want to contact. And I kind of think it would be for Kiefer. And I know this is so bad because I think
Mm-hmm.
Morgan is amazing, but for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
nobody wants to contact him.
I know what's with
Ava
that.
didn't want to contact him.
I
And I
forgot.
mean, just the trend, I could see somebody preferring to contact a supposed significant other. And I say that because the relationships are sort of there. Because even with Christina, it's like, we learned that she needs closure, and her experience with Kiefer was traumatizing and still has stayed with her in all this time. I wish we went into it more, like how it affected her, in terms of like how it affected her choices and things like that she's done, or how she thinks.
Or
And
her partners, how she is in a relationship.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't think that it's Morgan, but yeah, I wonder if there's going to be follow through on that.
I don't know. I really hope there is. I think she's going to come back for maybe a few episodes, because I don't know, they just left it so open that I really believe that she's going to come back in some capacity, let it be for Ava or for Christina.
So what did you think about Ava's overall reading? I mean, not reading, but like contacting Kiki.
The contacting Kiki. I was, part of me was surprised and then not surprised. I honestly felt bad for Ava.
I did feel bad for her, for sure, because like she lost Kiki, and she obviously understands how awful her behavior was, and that time is actually limited, and her reaction to her wasn't like appropriate. So I think she does understand that. I guess I was surprised that Kiki's still mad on the other side.
Yeah, I didn't know you could still be that angry.
so
all the good.
Yeah, so that really surprised me, and I thought that was kind of funny. But I really found that the psychic embodied Kiki for real, because that is how she talked to Ava. So I thought that was really interesting. But again, I don't know what Ava would do with that moving forward. It sucks.
Either.
You know what I mean?
Like, genuinely though, I hope that she's going to take some time to work on herself as a person, but we know that is not probably going to happen.
No, I don't think it will at all. So again, I too felt that she was, since she was in this apologetic mood, I really thought that she was going to call on Morgan, but she did not.
No, it really surprised me. Like, I know Nicholas' name came up prior to that with Laura and Hayden, but at the same token, like you said, she was asking for forgiveness. It was a different mindset and tone to the whole experience with the psychic. So when she said Nicholas, I was like, what is happening right now?
Well, technically, she could apologize to Nicholas for not acting as a witness when she could have, in terms of like Valentine shooting him. She could apologize for that, but I think we all know that, like, when they left off, they had a brief interaction together, but honestly there were such sparks, and I really liked them together, and the idea of them being romantically involved was super fun. And like, let's face it, I think Ava was more interested in those feelings than anything else.
Yes.
And then there was Carolyn Hogue said she thinks that she's looking for something, and maybe the feeling she had for him, especially after that horrible interaction with Kiki, that, kind of like looking to soothe herself in some shape or form. And that might make more sense, actually.
Yes, the typical Ava way, comfort yourself with a hot, sexy man.
That would be more Ava than anything else. And then there was the reality that she couldn't feel him. And so Cinnamon Deb simply can sense Nicholas's spirit on the other side. Is that more evidence that he's alive? I think so.
Yeah.
And Miss Verace said, I hope so. I've always believed he wasn't dead. And same here. And I'm going to put this out there because I don't know if I am crazy. And it's very possible I dreamt this, because I do dream of General Hospital at times, like a cuckoo.
You're funny.
And I don't remember if this happened, but I thought that a long time ago, like way after Nicholas was sort of like thought to be dead, that there was a scene of Ava in the Metro Court, and her cell phone rings, and all you hear her go is, Nicholas? If anyone else has a memory of that, if not, it's very possible I completely dreamt that. But then there was that time where we saw somebody in a limo. The ring with Cassadine. So like, anyways, like, whatever. I don't think Nicholas is dead at all, but it would suck because I'm pretty sure Spencer thinks he's dead. Like, I don't think Spencer's in on this.
Exactly. Oh, I would be devastated if he didn't know. I mean, it could be like a Jason situation where maybe he didn't have his memory. I mean, he survived multiple falls. I'm pretty sure that Nicholas could survive. Was he shot though, or just like fell out the window? I think he was shot then fell out the window.
Exactly, a little 2-in-1 combo.
He'll survive it. I truly believe he'll come
Oh,
back, and that's what the whole mission is with Hayden.
so okay, so get this. So Kathy Guerreri said, along the lines of what you're saying, I think
Hmm.
and have thought all along that he's not dead, so Nicholas, and Jax is holding a secret regarding Nicholas. I think they're working together.
That Nicholas and Jax are working together.
Yeah, which would be freaking huge.
Oh my gosh, right? Because wait, didn't they share a wife? Oh no, the wife was his sister.
Not at the
No.
same time,
Okay.
but
This is GH.
that's
I don't
kind of
know.
that's kind of the problem between them. They were both with Courtney,
Right. Okay,
and
Courtney.
Jax had kept Spencer from him. So I mean, they do like
Ugh.
they have a bad history, but the way things are shaking out, like I mean, and especially the conversation Hayden had with Laura asking about Spencer.
I agree, and like just trying to figure out where he's at and all of that stuff. Like I think that in the end, it's something that maybe Valentine said to Sunny a few episodes ago. Like because we have the same enemy, we can be friends, and maybe because Valentine for some reason is an enemy of Jax, Nicholas and Jax and Hayden can band together for the greater good.
Oh, I would love that. That would be so interesting. That would be so interesting. But okay, so this is what scares me though, because did you
Okay.
notice how they were talking, Hayden and Laura, about Spencer and about how much he's grown and
Yes, I
changed?
know they're gonna. I feel like they're gonna age him up.
So that's exactly what Knitting the
Mm,
Blues was sort of hinting at. She's like, it sounded very much like they're setting Spencer up. I think what is it's called? There's like an abbreviation for it. Soap
is there?
opera. What is it? Rapid aging syndrome. Because they were talking about like changing his voice. He looks like a man, among other little clues.
Right.
Made it sound like he will come back an older kid, catching up to Joss now. Too bad. I hope I'm wrong. I like Spencer. He has a great rapport with all the characters he interacts with. And that's the thing. Like
Hmm.
aging certain characters, it happens, but I just find like how do you do that with a character like Spencer? Like he's very unique and one of a kind.
It's so true. It would be
So
very sad. Like I understand why they would have to do it to push the story forward. But at the same time, like I say, he's a very important character, and it would be so hard to maybe like they'd bring him back like later on. Who knows?
I would prefer something like that, but at the same time, even if you brought him back, like he has so many other storylines that don't necessarily mix with the other younger kids. Like back in the day,
True.
yes, he was like around with like Joss and Cam, but I mean like Robin's daughter, she's not really around right now. And they've
Right.
never really aged her. So I think like even if Spencer came back and you kind of kept him within his own storylines in terms of like Valentine and Laura and Sunny, and in that context, and not necessarily mix the kids, I don't think it would be all that weird to kind of get through this phase until he grows. And maybe he has grown enough to fit the description between Hayden and Laura. But another standout element with that scene was I was just really shocked at Laura's reaction to Ava.
Same. Why was she so angry?
I mean, look, I know her son died and I know,
Well, yeah.
but Ava didn't have a hand in killing Nicholas. She basically just
Mm-hmm.
made it harder to prove that Valentine killed him. And that's a fact. And I get it. It was brought up in that moment that Ava had walked in on them. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's been true for a long time. It's been
Exactly.
true when they connected. And I just don't understand why they're not being consistent with that connection between Laura and Ava, and why it's not continuing to grow and move forward. Like I don't see why with the Ryan storyline over, there has to that relationship has to be over as well.
I agree. I wanted to see, her be around women her age that are, Ava, despite all of that, she owns a gallery. She's a businesswoman. She's smart. Yes, she's erratic and she makes like some really crazy decisions. But being around women like Laura, Felicia, it was such a nice group that accepted her, that she could develop these strong female friendships, that it does bug me too. And I hope they change that up.
I kind of hope that they move on from that and just sort of like go back to making them friends.
The good thing about Ava is she bounces back really quickly when it comes to things like that.
Yeah.
Like it didn't even seem like it phased her all that much. She's just like, whatever.
Well, she's used to being not liked, and she had two people
Yeah,
be nice to her. She had Christina and Alexis be nice to her earlier, so maybe that
true.
compensates for things. But yeah, no, again, I just was like very pro the Laura and Ava relationship, and it kind of bugs me when I see stuff like that. So,
Agreed.
in keeping with the Jeromes, Kim goes to see Julian. And out of,
Oh.
but like after all this time that Robert's been on this show, it's like that's your first interaction with Julian?
Okay, so that
So
part made me
crazy.
laugh because what did Julian say to him? He said something like, "He's so funny. Like, what do I owe this headache to?"
I know
What?
he's hilarious. Like I love those little
The
subtle comments. Are
dry.
just well, especially with Robert. I think it's like it's easy, and Julian is that way with basically everyone because everyone who comes in doesn't like him, but they
Oh
go there
gosh.
anyway. Um,
Right?
but I just think that you're right about something you said because when he was talking to Kim and Kim was basically just checking to see if they were good,
Mm-hmm.
Julian was really doubling down on this concept of like being by her side and supporting her and that like because there's a lot of people around him who constantly remind him that he's messed up. So you have Robert that won't let him
Mm-hmm.
forget that he used to do bad things. So he obviously doesn't want to do that to Kim, like hold this
Yes.
bad thing against her. And then you have Bobby who's saying, like, you can't help anybody. So I just think, and I'm
Exactly.
not saying he doesn't care about Kim, but I just think you're
Mm-hmm.
right that these outside criticisms are really kind of motivating him to make things work with her and to support her and to be a positive influence in her life.
Well, he's definitely digging his heels in. And
Mm-hmm.
I did have a funny thought though when she walked in and she started apologizing to him. I felt like it was one of those moments where you like pull out a card or a letter to really get your feelings across. And I'm like, do they make a card for "I'm sorry I drugged my ex lover to have him impregnate me with a new replacement child"?
I can't even like wrap my head around that whole thing. And just the fact that like she's sitting across from Julian being like, I'm thinking now that that could have been hard for you to just see me in bed with another guy and also encouraging you to leave the room so I can finish what we were doing without understanding that
Oh,
and like but with the sort of implicit understanding that you and I are still in a relationship and
yeah,
that this
it's
this is just like a little hobby like
a little
a
hobby.
little this is me just
Side
having
gig.
like a brief private interaction at a party and I'll be with you in a sec. Like it was really really messed up and obviously they're framing it in that way like how far gone she went but see if anything kind of comes out of that.
But I really do think that the GH store on ABC should have those weird cards. Like,
That would
sorry,
be
I'm not your real
hilarious
daughter.
though.
Oh my, right? And
That
just
would
like a
be
couple
so funny.
customized.
That would be so amazing.
I would love that. I think I would start totally buying all of those for your birthdays, anniversary, everything, for every reason.
That would be amazing. And I just think like for the time being, like I can't imagine like Drew is still being really nice to her.
Yes.
Um but hopefully he won't have to. Like hopefully Julian can kind of handle Kim and I think Drew deserves a little bit of a break from her. And it was nice seeing him in his life, like back at work, and even
Mm-hmm.
funnier seeing him in scenes with Hayden and looking how he was like, whoa, why is she here? And being so reactive because we don't really ever get that from Drew. So it was so fun to see him being so reactive toward her.
It was, and I totally forgot what their relationship was until somebody said, like, well, she did, fake being his wife
Yeah,
when he came into town. I was like, I do remember that. I was watching when that happened, and yeah, I really did like those scenes. Did Curtis know, like, about all of that?
of course.
Okay, because
Curtis, yeah,
I
because he's good friends with
feel
them. He knows everything she's done.
oh, okay, because I don't remember Curtis being part of it. But what I do wish Drew would tell Curtis is, and I think Curtis will figure it out, that it was Kim that drugged him.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what Curtis would do with that. And I think that because he's on the outside, he'd have like an audience reaction to this
Yes.
and he'd be so appalled for Drew. And maybe the story does need that because we are kind of like because and I get it like I get the context in which this is going on she's grieving but at the same time she almost raped Drew and like we
Mm-hmm.
talked about last week it's sort of being downplayed so in a way maybe if Curtis did know we would get like let's say the representation of maybe the audience reaction like you know what I mean like we would get the other side to this we have the compassionate side like
Yes.
everybody like we have the compassionate and rational side like I get why you did this you need help we have that but
Mm-hmm.
maybe maybe having a different kind of response to it like the caring friend who's like, who the hell did this to you?
I think it would be interesting because I think it would then open the door for Drew to process what happened. There's so much that happened to this man between his son dying and then this whole craziness that he needs somebody that he can rely on and deal with those emotions because we saw
Yeah.
how traumatized he was. And yeah, like you said, it's being like shoved under the rug or pushed under the rug. I'm not sure what the expression is. And it really needs to come out in order for him to move forward.
But you're right. He has gone through a lot, and maybe that is also what's numbing his sort of response to this.
True.
And he's probably just exhausted. Like, I don't have enough to
Right?
give you right now. So I just think that he can deserve like an actual break from Kim and like dealing with his own stuff. But that's the thing. When I was on that line of thinking, and then I forgot about Hayden and Finn, which I love, totally love the idea of them getting back together. But I was thinking in
Mhm.
that moment when Hayden was in Drew's office that, Drew can use a little fun. But then
That's
I
true
forgot that
too.
he hated her.
Right?
But again, that could really be what drives a superficial relationship. Superficial wink wink in quotation.
Right. Gotcha.
Boink
Noted.
boink. Yeah. Okay. So Hayden is making it more and more obvious, especially at Aiden's party, that
Oh
she's into
my.
Finn.
Yes, did she ever?
So I think she needs to get on that a little bit more, and hopefully we'll see a lot of that next week. But there was so much love this week. Like, Thursday's episode
Yes.
was all about the couples, and I was loving it. Like, I was loving just, I mean, Franco and Elizabeth are very cute, and I think that's
They
the thing about the
are.
actor who plays Franco, is just that he adds a real realness into the interactions, into the soap opera with his comments. Like, even when they were scrolling through their wedding photos together, it was just very, it's like a real conversation you're observing. But
Yes.
yeah, so they find something that sort of supports Obrecht's story. So
Yes.
it could be a guest, it could be another person. I have no idea who it could be. Like, I don't know, do guests really have like crazy push people overboard outfits with them to change into? I don't know.
Maybe it is Port Charles.
I don't know that exactly. But I what I loved even more was when they went to the police station, and then Franco like grabs Elizabeth and was like, "We threw a murder mystery party. We didn't even mean to." That
He's
is so
so
cruel.
cute
Like,
and
I
so
just so
funny.
oh
Oh,
my gosh, it was hilarious. I really, really loved it. I think that was probably one of my favorite moments. Obrecht, as always, is crazy and entertaining,
oh
but
my
like,
gosh.
okay, so we talked a little bit about this earlier. I don't know. I just think it's just weird to see Nina feel so empathetic toward Willow. Like, when I was seeing her talk with
Mm-hmm.
Obrecht, I was just sort of like, is she really having an empathy? Is she really
I
having a
know.
kind feeling toward Willow? But I just didn't know what was going to go on there, because part of me was thinking, is Obrecht gonna
I
like
know.
try to make Nina feel better by disclosing who the father is? And if she did, Nina would probably keep it a secret in case she didn't want to like mess up Michael's relationship with Sasha. Like, if
Exactly.
Sasha hinted, "Oh, I don't really want this." So like I kept thinking that like Nina might actually find out the truth and then keep it quiet because of Sasha for some weird reason.
That's such a like convoluted way for the story to come out, but I
But
like it.
isn't that whole thing convoluted? Like, when
Well,
Nina was
yeah.
putting all of the information together, and I'm like, so many things happen, and I'm like, then I'm watching the scene, I'm like, that she put together, like that she put together. And the other thing that kind of bugged me was that when Willow was talking to Nina, she's like, Wiley's safe, and I'm just like, but okay, why are you making it easy?
Yeah.
And you're now making it kind of like public knowledge and admitting that
Yes.
Wiley is your son. I'm like, aren't you supposed to still not say this? I'm just wondering if that's like something to consider
Yeah, I
to
thought that
not do.
was pretty strange.
It was really strange, but what I am loving is how Harmony found reality, and it just looks so good on her. Like, I mean, it's so funny. Like sometimes I guess you don't appreciate how good of an actor these people are, because you
Yes.
watch it and you're just so like, used to it. But it's just, something has shifted with Harmony. Like, I literally feel like she's a real person when I'm watching her now. Like, before, I
Yes.
used to look at her and be like, oh my gosh, I can't date this girl. Like, she was a
Empty
character.
vessel.
She was a character. She was like a villain. But now when I watch her in scenes, like, I'm right there with her. And I feel like she's real. And I love the way she told off Shiloh. I was
Oh
scared.
yes.
I was scared when I saw her run into Ryan. And I'm like, again, why are the prisons mixed?
I
And
know. Why do they intermingle?
That's new to me. I was scared when she met Ryan, but when he walked away and she seemed a little weirded out, I was like, okay, good. Okay,
Her radar.
you have some radar that's
Mm-hmm.
working and kind of like activated. But what I don't understand is
Mm-hmm.
why Jordan and Curtis went to go
Oh,
see him. Like, even if Jordan
oh.
really genuinely wanted to thank him, I just think you have to think things through. I think it's normal as a normal human to be like, hey, you gave me an organ. I want to
Mm-hmm.
thank you. But I think in this context, you need to think about who you're thanking and how that's going to go. And if you extending that gesture is even worth it.
Well, exactly. It's like she's doing it for her. And if you wanted to say thank you, write a note, write a card. I don't know. Like, why was it worth going to see him, the both of you together? You know that he's not going to have any type of emotion. Like, I just felt like it was a filler and I didn't understand how it contributed to anything.
I don't think it was. I don't think sitting in a prison communicating with Ryan, especially that character, is
Mm-hmm.
ever just a filler.
I know
It's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like other scenes. Like, what I was initially thinking, is this a filler? Like the whole softball thing. I
Oh
think
my
it's super
God.
cute, but I was just like,
Yes.
what is this? It's so cute.
So, so cute. Their little uniforms, their outfits, as Willow called them.
But I love, like, more than just like, even though there was like a lot of romance yesterday, like Chase and Willow, and then you had like Sasha and Michael really playing up their couple as well, alongside many others.
Mm-hmm.
Because even Jordan and Curtis, like, their
Oh,
interaction was so real,
yes.
catching her dance. And when she was like, want to fold some laundry and do the dishwasher together, I was like, you guys are like super, super cute. But
Mhm.
um I loved Michael and Chase going back and forth
Right?
over,
So
like, and
cute.
just being like super, super competitive. um Again, like, Michael claims he broke his ribs, but it turns out
Hmm.
that you can just kiss and make that better. So I don't understand why everyone constantly feels the need to run to the hospital when you break a rib. And even
Kissable better.
and even funnier was when Max shows up, and then they make fun of like the suits even more. I was just like, this
Yeah.
is so funny. Like, even if this is like a weird random filler thing, I think it's like so adorable and enjoyable, and seeing all of those guys in uniform is amazing. But I did notice that General Hospital posted something where they said they're going to be making like official playing cards.
Oh my gosh, I saw the like Insta story. So, so cute. I
There's an
want.
Insta story.
Yeah, and they put like Chase's actual like baseball card. They had Michael's baseball card and they had Max.
And
So
Max,
that's what,
oh wow, I
yeah, so
liked
I
Max
saw
card.
that like yeah, yeah.
I don't
I
know what
like
that's
all of
about, but
it.
it's there. It's there. And I have to say, like, he was so amazing at the PCPD. At first I was like, oh man, is Jordan coming back?
I know,
But
I'm sad.
then but then I liked that she was just checking in, and that made me feel good. But I just loved how respectful he was to her and about keeping her in the
Yes.
loop, and he's really just doing his like temp job, that kind of a thing. So I don't know, I'm really not ready at all to see Mac leave the PCPD. I'm really not ready. I don't know. Maybe
No,
Jordan will realize, you know what? Maybe all that Ryan talk getting into her head about being
mm-hmm.
lawless, maybe she'll
Yes.
just like do PI work with Curtis and let him do the suits thing for
Ooh.
a while. Let him like follow the rules and have this like office job. And maybe she's the one who finally gets to like break the rules a little bit
Oh my gosh,
and solve a case.
I
Solve a
really
case for
freaking
once.
like that so much because I was thinking like the whole co-commissioners thing will go on for a while, but I like your version way more.
I would. I think Mac fits really nice. I love his casual yet professional and hard like way of being commissioner. I just like
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it's really cute, him and Robert working together. That whole dynamic.
Agreed.
So are we to believe that Brad was really, really gonna kill Obrecht? Like, what are you doing?
Oh
Like, I don't even
my.
know what his plan was. Like, what was that? And I'm just thinking, even if it was something shady, wouldn't Obrecht look over and know what it was in a split second?
Exactly. That scene was so ridiculous. What does Brad think he's doing? What does he think he can get away with? Especially when Nina walked in, she's like, "Aren't you like a lab tech?"
Yeah, and I love that she was really, really questioning that whole thing because it
At
didn't make any
oh,
sense. But
not
like,
at all.
but okay, I mean, whatever. Obviously, when you catch him, it doesn't make any sense because he's about to do something bad. But it's
Right.
just you do know Obrecht.
Right?
You do know Brit. Like, I don't know. I just think you have enough information to know that whatever you were about to do was stupid and it would have never gone over well.
Yeah, he's
This,
really losing it. I think maybe that's just the whole point, that he's really, I mean, he has
yeah.
been unraveling, but he's getting close to the rock bottom that is going to, how do you say it? Like, he's getting so far down that this is when the whole story is going to crumble. And maybe it is going to come straight from Brad. Like, we're thinking about all these other ways it's going to come down, but maybe he's just going to break down so badly that he's going to admit what has happened.
That's very possible. So Brad does get pulled out, and then they all go into this like joint lawyer meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So part of at Cinnamon Deb's comment off Twitter, she wrote this: I really love that hug that Lucas gave Willow. It was so genuine and sweet. I have to say, there is something about the two of them on screen. Like,
I
Lucas is
agree.
so warm and he's really
Yes.
connected with Willow. And I get it. He doesn't have like all these obstacles and secrets in the way that he could
Mm-hmm.
actually form a genuine relationship in the way that Brad really just can't do with her. But I just love them together. And I don't know. I wonder, I guess if I just wonder if she'll change her mind on Lucas's offer to be more involved in Wiley's life.
Ooh, that's a good point. There is that beautiful warmth and just genuine appreciation for the sacrifice that she made for a better life for her son, and that he gets to um, receive that blessing, kind of thing. And I think it might change things for a while, anyways. And as long as she believes that Wiley's her son,
And I
or
know we
knows
are
that, you know.
disregarding that it is Michael's baby, but I
I
have to say,
know.
when they were all
Oh.
together at the bar, I
Mm-hmm.
was just very much like, it really, really hit me that those people, and I mean, forget Brad,
Yes.
but when I saw them together, all three of them, I was just like so devastated at the idea of the truth coming out, which
I
is so
know.
weird because typically you always want the truth to come out. But when I saw
Right?
them, and it's not that the baby is with bad people,
Mm-hmm.
he's not with bad people. So this makes this baby switch maybe a little different than all the others.
Oh, 1000%. This is such a
So
weird mixed emotion type situation.
because like I'm already being like, oh, baby will a co-parent. I love their relationship. Like I'm not even like I forget sometimes that the truth
Oh,
needs to
yeah.
come out and that it's on his baby. And I just didn't know what to think because again, like I said, Willow is bringing up Wiley's name to Nina, and then
Mm-hmm.
Lucas suggests getting Shiloh's medical history.
I
And I'm like, what is
know.
wrong with you? Like, I don't understand if he meant actually requesting them, which legally wouldn't make any sense if you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to, stall the
Oh,
fact that
right.
Shiloh
Yes.
is the father. Or I don't know if he was hoping that Willow would know or if there was an underhanded way of getting it. And I'm just saying, like, you
I
asked Julian for help. You're telling me you can't just go to Sunny, go to Spinelli, go to Jason, and just Sam and just say, hey, can you just get these records? Like, I didn't get what that request was.
Me neither. I found it a little strange too, but maybe it was exactly like what you said at the beginning. It's just maybe a conversation with Willow to find out what exactly it is that she knows. Because I mean, like, doesn't he also work at the hospital, and couldn't he just like type in some things?
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? If all the like, even if Lucas didn't want to be that guy, your husband's that
Yes.
guy, so
Oh,
just get that
100%.
guy to do that. And you know what? Maybe it is just a sharing of information, like you said. He
Yes.
said it in front of Willow. She didn't know. And then what
Mm-hmm.
happens? Maybe her videographic memory will kick in if Michael talks about some kind of heart
Heart
thing. I
issue.
don't know. But did you notice that they threw in another little bit of information? I, Lucas was talking about insulin.
Yeah, I caught that, and I don't. I mean, I was going to ask you about that. I made note to see if there's anything else that you remember, because this is the first
I
I've heard
don't.
about
And
that.
especially that we've had, where he had to like be with his mom and tell her diagnosis.
Yes.
I just felt like, I have it too. And you've been there for me. Like, I just felt like it was so strange because originally when I heard him divulge that, I got really scared that somehow this could be used to harm Lucas. Because if this baby thing goes way too far, especially with
Mm-hmm.
like Shiloh out and like Ryan in the mix and Nell in the mix, like with somebody kind of use something to hurt Lucas. I don't know why, but I just got scared of that.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, you didn't say it for nothing. Like we literally had like a whole diabetes episodes with like Bobby and Epiphany.
Exactly.
And I'm just surprised because now it looks like Lucas could have contributed to that conversation with his mom in more ways than one.
I agree. It's really strange that he's one hiding it, and two, I think maybe that might be the case. You know, like if he's passed out on the floor because he doesn't have insulin, and they're grabbing the baby to run away with it. I'm thinking more so Shiloh. That could be a thing.
Yeah, that really, really scares me. And speaking
Same.
of Epiphany, do you think she knows that if Sunny decided, Dev could have been living with her and Milo if he was just
Uh,
a couple of years older?
I don't think she has a clue.
I was like, that's an option?
I
Like,
know.
that's an option. Epiphany's going about her life, doing her thing
Yeah.
with her little magic Milo, and then
Right.
out of nowhere, they would just have a teenager living with them.
Congratulations! You
Um,
have a cranky teenager.
so that was interesting. I was surprised that Carly was considering boarding school.
I know. But this is Carly, though. She thinks about things from everybody's angle. And I understand where she was coming from and why she brought it up. And I
Yeah, yeah.
really, really, really liked, like, I love them together. Sunny and Carly, they're so understanding and supportive. I think it was important that Dev overheard that conversation and that Carly was so easy to support Sunny in his decision.
Yes.
So he really does get to see that he has two people who genuinely cares for his well being.
Yes, because he's definitely like, Sunny's a big deal for him, but you're right. It's
Yes.
important to see that it's not just him, it's also Carly. And I was relieved that he
Oh,
eavesdropped on an
gosh.
appropriate conversation because
Yes.
I wouldn't, like, 'cause I don't want him to be this like enemy or somebody that they have to look out for. Like, I like the conversation with Jason had. Basically, he's a guy, he's a little boy that came there, and Jason's just going to help him, like, realize the extent of this whole situation and try to make sure that he doesn't make any mistakes. So I like the concept that they're kind of cultivating, like, you need support and we see the areas in which you need them and we're just going to do it and like give you a family and give you like connectedness and like a circle.
Exactly. And we're understanding now, like, effort, it's not necessarily that he's evil or any of that things, but this is the only way of life that he's known, you know, stealing
Mm-hmm.
purses. When he talked about the hotel, he's like, why didn't you just break into the room? It's like for him,
Yeah.
that it's always survival mode. It's not thinking about the rules and regulations. It's just like surviving another day.
And Joss jumped in true
Oh,
Carly
gosh. Yes.
fashion for
Yes.
him.
So cute.
The thing there, this is what I'm loving. It's what I hoped, and it's what happened. Is that
Hmm.
Cam and him are getting along? Like they're so pro
Yes.
Sunny, and Trina is clearly not. So that makes me a little curious. Like I'm wondering how this hasn't come up in their friendship before, especially if she feels that way as a teenager. Like we can understand all the parents
Right?
thinking this. Like
Hmm.
Elizabeth being like, "No, you're not going to park the car there." So we understand that aspect of it. So it was just funny hearing that, and I liked that dynamic of having Cam and him getting along. I really like the fact that it's not competitive. I really didn't want that.
Me too.
So about Dev, like it really has been emphasized that Dev is sort of like a Sunny do-over,
Yes.
but they talk a lot about how like he doesn't think before he acts. And I was
Yes.
like, is this more than just a Sunny do-over? Because I feel like there are Morgan elements here.
Ooh, interesting.
I mean, I don't know if Carly really feels that way, but I kind of got that vibe when they started talking about he doesn't think before he acts, and Sunny is taking him on and taking him on as his son, like in that role. But anyways,
Right.
I just wondered if that would come
Relevant to
up at
him.
any point, or if it really strictly is a Sunny mini me.
It might be like I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on that. Now that you brought it up, I'm gonna pay more attention because I never even thought about it that way.
Me neither until this week. so
Well, okay, so what
so
I'm
we'll
really
see if I have
interested.
like any if there's any point to that.
So Christina this week and all of her interactions with Sunny and showing her strength, and I am very curious as to what the how the interaction with Dev and Christina, or even just the initial meeting, like how is that gonna go down? I am
I didn't even
so
think
curious.
of that until you said it because, Josh, Josh, sorry, Joss refers to him as, her cousin as
Cousin,
well.
right?
And I love that. I love that about the family. They just,
Welcome,
we're
open
all
arms.
family. But I mean, based on this story they've created, it truly is Christina's cousin.
Hmm.
So yeah, they're
And as
cousins, but like Dev seeing her as like the older woman. I don't
right,
know.
okay, so
I
that's the
don't
thing,
know.
though. Exactly, exactly. Okay, so my head went two ways. She's learning to embrace her family differences and all, and really accepting all of the love and support that's around her. And he's a person that needs a lot of love and support, so it can go that route. But I can also see how there can be sparks between the two of them.
Hmm.
Because you know she was talking about like the
Mm-hmm.
things she likes about her dad and how this and that and like, you know, Sunny has led a path or setting an example of the kind of person that she should potentially be with.
Well,
So I don't know, like I don't know. It can go like
well,
very
because
interesting ways.
in Friday's scene, like I always love them together. She said like because she was saying things to him like about following in his footsteps or being like him.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me wonder, what kind of role she'll play in the future in terms of
Yes.
being exactly what ways do you want to be like Sunny? But do you know what I'm
Exactly.
thinking of now in terms of Dev? I regret that she didn't get to play this like mentor older friend role to Oscar
Me
because that's where they were
too.
heading. So I do kind of
Yes.
wonder if that's going to be more of the dynamic.
I would like that and accept that because I think that with the path she's going down and people trusting her, that would give her or continue for her to grow and build her confidence as somebody who is trustworthy, not
Because
somebody who just depends on others.
yeah, I think I see that more because it also would like extend to her growth and it would
Yes.
help Dev have more than just Joss but other people. Like it'll build his circle and realize he really does have like a larger kind of network of people who care about him,
Mm-hmm.
um and to kind of show him the ropes. And I guess we'll also get to see how mature is Christina because she is also impulsive. Is she really going to be able to
True.
be Jason-esque
Hmm.
and reel this
Oh.
guy in a little bit? Because the thing is, even like she's always been the sister who was taken care of, and even with
Yes.
Morgan, they were more like peers than one being older than the other. And I felt like they commiserated a lot and they felt like they held the same role in the family. So it was like the blind leading the blind. Like no one was really guiding one another. They were just more like in the same place. So this would be really, really interesting. And she's never really gotten to play that role to Molly.
No, and I love the idea though what you said of her being Jason-esque. Like, oh yes, I want to see it unfold
She would
this way
have
so
to
badly.
be. She would have to be if
Yes.
you're guiding someone like Deb. She would have to really rein herself in.
Oh well, yeah, yeah, big time.
So I think that that's it for me. I don't know about you.
No, that's it for me. Like my gold star goes to Harmony for calling him a pathetic Hank, and that is the end of the end.
All right. So have a good weekend, tornado free, and everybody else have a safe and
Yes.
happy weekend.
Thank you. Right back at you. Bye.
Bye.